Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Mic check. Hope everyone's doing well. Today is June the 12th. It's a Thursday. We actually have core PPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yesterday, we did have CPI came in lower than expected, so we ended up driving towards the upside, but we weren't able to hold key levels. Today, we actually had a little bit of a pullback yesterday right back in towards your Monday's lows. So you can see this is basically the range that we have here on the NQ. If we can break underneath key levels, we'll talk about the levels that we're going to be looking for coming into today. We could see a little bit of retracement here on the major indices. Overall market is still very much bullish. We're just having a little bit of pullback here so far on the lower time frame. So we'll take a look at the charts here in a second. What's up? Good morning, everyone. What's up, B Roots? What's up, Key? I'm just gonna call you non-tally. I think that's how you pronounce it. What's up, Jeff, Steven, Katrina, JT, Ricardo? What's up, Ali? What's up, Josh? Cupid from Cape Town. Love the video. Glad you like it. What's up, Ryan, Damian, Ashley, Wayne, Daniel, Audrey, KO, and Daniela, Mozzie, Darth, Melissa, Envision. What's up, Miss Reggie? Andreas, Dominic, Telmo, Paul, Renato. What's up, Curious? Mayor, Vic, Cuta, Daniel, Sound. What's up, Darth? Good morning. What's up, Infinite, Ray? Yeah. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's hop into the major indices. Same plan as yesterday. We're just going to go over some charts for the first 30 minutes, and then we will develop our game plan once we do have PPI that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So first things first, so let's actually remove a few of these levels here, and we'll talk about what I see here on the ES and the NQ. Let me actually just remove a few things. Let me actually clear off the drawings here as well. So for the ES and NQ, this is basically what I had coming into yesterday as we drew this downtrend line. We had multiple touches, building higher lows here in the market. And now you can see for the ES, what we wanted to see was the break and hold above your previous day highs. So we had your Tuesday's highs marked out, which was also the top of this trend line here as well. We wanted to see the hold and potential continuation towards the upside. But now you can see if we can zoom back in, we were not able to hold your previous day highs. For me yesterday, if we did want to see more upside on the overall markets, had to hold your previous day highs. If we're able to hold your previous day highs, we could see a potential move towards your CPI high. In this case, what we actually did have, I was looking for that first step to get bought up. We end up having a nice move higher. We actually end up having news. So we end up having news midday, which ended up dropping the market, and then we gravitated down towards your CPI low. So in this case, for the overall market, now we have a couple key levels on the chart. Let me actually just remove this. Actually, I'll keep these levels. So for the ES, if we're looking at the 1 hour time frame, you can see we're in a fairly tight range. If I go back onto the 1 hour chart, as you can see here. The 1 hour chart, you can see the momentum has slowed down here on the ES. If we look at the VIX as well, momentum has slowed down quite a bit. We've really been in this 50-point range here in the past 3 to 5 days on the ES. So we've been just kind of slowly moving higher, just slowly pushing towards the upside. Now you can see we had a little bit of volatility that kind of picked in later into the day. And now we're just back to your Monday's lows. So we're back at your Monday's lows, also your last week's key pivot levels here as well. What I like to see on ES is now just going to be the reaction that we have off of your Monday's lows, being your 5993. Sure, 5993 is key coming to today with PPI this morning. What we like to see is the reaction that we have off this level. So far, this is the higher low here on the 1 hour time frame. So as long as you maintain your 5993, we can expect a move back towards the upside here on the overall markets. If we end up breaking underneath your Monday's lows, also your key pivot level from last week here as well, we could see a bigger move towards the downside all the way back towards your 5930. So for the ES coming to market open, we'll see how PPI comes in. for the first 30 minutes, and we'll see how the market reacts to that PPI data. But if we can get underneath your 5993 now, this is going to also be your higher low here on the higher time frame. So as you can see, overall markets, right, higher lows are being established. Now for me, this is our higher low here right at your key level. You can see also multiple touches here as well. So if we break underneath this, I think we could see a pretty big nice push towards the downside. But if we maintain your 5993, we're just going to still be intact for continuation towards the upside. So there's no reason to anticipate what's going to happen. We're going to have 8:30 news here in about 25 minutes for the overall markets. As for SPY, I guess my levels got deleted. I don't know why that keeps happening, but for SPY key levels, oh, there you go. I'm not sure why my charts are not loading today. Is also my stream fine? Seems like my frames are dropping. It should be good. As for the SPY chart, the levels that we have coming into today, similar thing. We have your Monday's lows marked out along with multiple touches here from its previous week. So as you can see, we have our Monday's lows. We also have a key pivot level here from Friday. Key level is your 599. This is the level that we like to see hold if we do want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside here on the overall markets. If we do break underneath your 600, which currently we are here in the pre-market, we're gonna have to see a hold underneath your 599 for a push back down in towards the lows here for SPY. So key levels we're gonna have marked out coming into today. It's gonna be your 598.50 here on the SPY. If we go into the NQ chart, similar thesis. If we go onto the 1 hour, you can see the key levels that I have established on this one. I was marking out this trend line that we have. What I wanted to see for the NQ yesterday, similar to the ES, was the break above your previous day highs for continuation. We weren't able to hold above your previous day highs and we end up rejecting. And now you can see if the market does want to stay heavy, you like to see it hold underneath this 21,850. So if you go into the NQ chart, what we like to see on the NQ is the reaction that we have off of a couple key levels. We have number one, it's going to be your pivot level, which is your 21,870. Your 21,870 is your level that you're going to be looking for a reclaim if you want to see a pushback towards the upside, right? You could be looking for the bounce play off your 21,750, but I would like to see the reclaim back above your 21,850 in a base for this pushback towards the upside. If we're looking for more downside, what we like to see now is consolidation, break underneath your 21,750, retest for this push towards the lows. So this is the key pivot level coming to market open. This is also your Monday's lows, as you can see here. Also your Friday's pivot level here as well. So this is going to be a key level for me today that I'm going to keep a watch on. The NQ, it's going to be your 21,750. If we look at the QQQ chart, the key levels that I have, you can actually just draw some levels. Let me actually remove some of this. For the Qs coming into today, it's going to be your Friday's pivot level that we can draw. So key level is going to be your 528. 528 for me is going to be our point of interest. Let me actually get rid of this. So for the Qs coming into today, our 528 is going to be key. If we can get underneath your 528, and hold underneath, we can see a push back towards the downside. As for upside, the key level that we're going to have to reclaim is back above your 531. So your 531 here is going to be the level that we have to reclaim. Also, it's your previous day lows and basically where your previous day close here as well. So for the QQQ, basically have your levels established, 531 here on the Qs along with your 528.50 towards the downside. Let's go on to some of the tech names that we have coming into today. Let's start off on Tesla. So Tesla, a little bit of pullback after having this initial drive towards the upside, rejected right off the bat, 335. This one kind of just stayed heavy and now it's pushing back towards the downside. So for Tesla, filled the gap. Now you can see we're down about 2% here in the pre-market as well. We're just coming back to levels that we broke out from earlier into the week. So for Tesla, key levels that I have established is really this 318. I'm not as bullish on Tesla now, right? I'm more neutral. So if you look at this on the daily chart, if we zoom out just a little bit, we're back into the original area where we ended up having that news event that dropped it from the first place. And then we also had, right, the news event that kind of pushed it back towards the upside. So I'm fairly neutral here on Tesla. Next event that we do have is just going to be your robo-taxi event. So for Tesla, that is coming up very soon. So we'll keep an eye out on that. As for now, Tesla key levels to watch is just going to be your 318 today. This is your level that we bounced off of Tuesday. So what we like to see, if any sort of buyers kind of step up here, you could see kind of just this mean reversion back towards your previous day lows and your previous day close, which is back towards your 327. If we do get underneath, if you consolidate, get underneath your 318, we could see a little bit of a bigger mover back down in towards your next level of support, which is going to be your 312. So keep an eye out on your 318 coming into today here for Tesla. As for Nvidia, key levels that we have marked out was your Monday's high. So for Nvidia coming into yesterday, the key levels that we have marked out was your Monday's high, your 145. So your 145 here was your key level. We end up driving towards the upside here with CPI. Little bit of reaction here off your Monday's highs and just was not able to get above your 145 on the lower time frame. So you can see right off the bat, just was unable to get above your Monday's highs. Rejection right off the bat. And then Nvidia would just basically kind of stayed heavy all day. Now you can see we're underneath key levels. We're underneath your Tuesday's lows. We're underneath a bunch of levels here as well. So the key levels we can actually have marked out. We actually just marked this out. Now we're underneath your 142. So for Nvidia, the levels I have marked out is your 142. You can see how many touches we have off this general area. We're now underneath your Wednesday's lows. We're underneath your Tuesday's lows along with your Monday's lows here as well. Nvidia's next level support is your 139, basically your 140. So you can mark this out here as well. So your key level support is going to be your 140. What I expect to happen on Nvidia most likely is just going to be this push down in towards your 140 coming to market open. You could be looking for the bounce play off your 140. This is the low of the range, low risk here as well for a push back up in towards your 142. So if the markets do want to push down, you could be looking for kind of the higher low off your 140 for a push back up and towards your 142. So those are my levels, 142 along with your 140 on Nvidia. If you look at Apple, Apple finally broke outside of its 1 hour range yesterday. Once we had a big push towards the downside here, it was staying heavy and it ended up dropping with the overall market. So for Apple, key levels that I have marked out is just this box. So your 205 along with your 200. Apple, a weaker ticker compared to the overall markets. Key levels that I'm going to have marked out now is going to be this 250. This is the level I'd like to see now be used as a retest for this continued pushback towards the downside. So for Apple, multiple touches, as you can see here, this is the exact level you like to see Apple hold for a pushback down in towards your 196. So this is the levels that we have established on Apple. Go back onto lower time frames. We have your 200 key psych, which you can see multiple touches. And now what we can also have marked out here as well is going to be your previous day low. So for Apple, you have two scenarios, right? The push all the way back up and towards your 200 and rejection, or if it consolidates, you can be looking for the break underneath your previous day lows for this continued push back down in towards your 196. As for some other names, Microsoft, this one's still holding up. This one's just at all-time highs compared to the overall markets. If we zoom in on the charts, as you can see, we're above your all-time highs. We're basically using this level as a retest, immediate retest for a continuation higher. So for Microsoft, as long as we maintain your previous all-time highs, which is your 468, we expect this one to continue higher. As for a few other names, Meta, key levels that we wanted to see hold was above your 703, end up getting above your 703 and rejecting. So this one now is just back down in towards your 694. Now for Meta, still bullish on the higher time frames. What we like to see is the reclaim back above your 694 for this pushback towards the upside. As for Google, was not able to get above your 181 and hold. Amazon, key levels that we have marked out on Amazon was our 218. 218 was the level we want to see hold, just never got above 218 in the actual market hours. And similar thing to a lot of these tickers, they're just pulling back just a little bit now with the major indices. As for AMD, this was one of my favorite charts that I wanted to see continue above your Tuesday's highs. Right off the bat, you can see already within the first 15 minutes, just based off of the first kind of 5 to 10 minutes of market open, you can see markets end up pulling back. So there's no setup. So now with AMD, key levels that we have, if you go back into the 1 hour chart, is going to be this 119.50. This is the level I'd like to see buyers step in off at. This is also your Monday's key pivot level here as well. If you do want to see any sort of push back towards the upside, this is going to be the key level that we're going to look for. 119.50s. If we break underneath 119.50s, you could see a little bit of a mean reversion back down in towards your Friday's close, since we do have a gap that we had over the weekend. As for a few other names that we're looking for, Netflix, this one ended up having a nice reclaim after pushing lower. Key levels that we're going to have is your 112.11 here. So this is the level. You can see so far we're building up higher lows in the overall markets. What we like to see now is a hold back above your 12.11 for this continued push back towards the upside. So coming into today, the main game plan is we're just going to wait for PPI here at 8:30. That's going to be in about 13 minutes here on both SPY and the Qs. We'll kind of readjust some of our levels that we have marked out here as well. But really now with the market pulling back just a little bit, what we're going to be looking for is any sort of relative weakness. The one that does have the most relative weakness is Apple. So we'll keep an eye out on Apple. As for the rest of the names, I'm still very much bullish on the overall market. We could be looking for now just kind of intraday scalps towards the downside, but higher time frame is bullish. We're just going to be looking to buy any sort of major pullback on the daily time frame for eventually the continued push back up and towards your all-time highs. All right, we have about 10 minutes until PPI here. So if you guys do have any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat and I'll go over them. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. All right, what's up, everyone? We go over a few names here. AFRM. So yeah, Affirm. This one's breaking back nicely towards the upside after basing above this 52. Key levels that we have on Affirm is back up and towards. We had this daily gap that we ended up just breaking. We also ended up filling here as well. So now this is the level we like to see hold on Affirm. If you do want to continue back towards your 66.90. So for Affirm, you can see this is the base that we had here on Monday. Tuesday consolidation. Nice push towards the upside here on Wednesday. Now what we like to see is really the hold of your Tuesday's highs if you do want to see some continuation back towards the upside. I personally like to see a hold of your 62 key psych level on this name. How to get back the levels if removed accidentally on TradingView. I don't think you can get, I don't know, it was just a glitch that it didn't load up, but if you delete your levels by accident, I don't think you can get them back. BA dropped 6% following the 787 crash in India. Dang, I actually didn't see that news event this morning. Seems like, yeah, it seems like it dropped quite a bit. So Boeing, going to the weekly time frame, this one ended up having a nice consolidation break after really consolidating for the better part of last year. So we end up having a really nice push towards the upside. And then, of course, one news event just like that, and we're pushing back down in towards your 200 key psych. So for Boeing, you can see the past really 20 to 40 days, really bullish, holding up, and then now all of a sudden right back towards the downside. So if you go into lower time frames here, fairly big kind of sell-off coming into this morning. Key levels that we have established is our 198. So we have our 198 along with our 187. What I would like to see is some buyers step in off your 198 and have like a mini mean reversion back up in towards your 204. So that's the key levels that I do have marked out, at least right off the bat. If you are looking for more downside, potentially it's going to be underneath this 196. In my opinion, this is a little bit of an overreaction on this news event, but the key levels you're just going to have marked out. 196 now is going to be your basically your pre-market lows here. All right. Hijack your key levels. All these are previous highs and lows. Do you use other levels such as 5-minute candle in order blah, blah, blah? Please confirm your levels pre-market and during the market. Yeah, so these are, all right. Let me go over some names. ELF. Let's kind of do like a mini speed run before 8:30. So for ELF, this one gapping up. Now we're having a strong candle closure here as well. Key levels that we like to see hold is going to be your 120 break, retest. You like to see continuation towards the upside. So that's going to be your key level on ELF. As for Palantir, this one ended up gravitating towards all-time highs very nicely yesterday. The key levels that we marked out was our high that we created, which was your 135. So we end up having a nice push towards the upside. We end up having a nice pop later into the session here as well. But for Palantir, now this one going to start slowing down here with the overall markets. Key levels that we can have established is going to be your previous all-time highs, 135. So your 135 is the exact level we'd like to see hold if we do want to see any sort of potential bounce towards the upside. I don't think it'll make a new high for the week, just based off of yesterday's price action along with the SPY and Qs breaking underneath your this week's low. So for Palantir, most likely just gonna kind of consolidate around this 135 key level. As for HIMS, this one's consolidating here on the daily time frame as well. Key levels that we have is your 58 along with your 52. Until we're able to break above your 58 or break below your 52, I'm not expecting too much. You could be looking for kind of the pops and fades and the bounces off the low of the range here as well on HIMS. As for gold, let's take a look at the gold chart here on the daily time frame. So gold slowly pushing higher here as well. Now what we have on gold is this trend line that we have on the lower time frames. Sorry, on the higher time frame. So for gold, we're building up these higher lows on the overall markets. We're holding above key levels here as well. What I'd like to see now is the push back up and towards your highs and potentially your all-time highs. Gold, you can see how well the levels are respecting the level that I've drawn out. Multiple touches. I mentioned, I think yesterday I like to see kind of the dip, break back above, hold, and a push back towards the upside. You can see now we're breaking above, holding this level. And now what I like to see is a push back up and towards your 3,400 along with your 3,435 on the higher time frames here on this name. So you can see nice break, retest, continuation. As for Oracle, we did have earnings above your 191. So for Oracle, you can see we end up making a fresh new high here in the pre-market, which is normally we like to see some consolidation. But for Oracle, I like to see any sort of pullback, IV flush. And then once we reclaim back above your 191, you like to see this push up and towards your 198 all-time highs here on this name. So that's going to be your key level today, your 191.90. As for Uber, this one, after hitting all-time highs, hasn't done too much. Now we're just kind of finding a base here off of your 82. As for Uber, I just expect this one to consolidate. We did try and reclaim back above your 86.96 here on Uber, but the key level for me is going to be this earnings high. So this earnings high is going to be the level that we like to see reclaim if we want to see a continued push back towards the upside, 88.90 here on Uber. Now, so far, breaking back underneath this 86.90s, you can see a little bit of a push back down in towards equilibrium, which is going to be your 85 key psych. Okay, let me go on to, I think I went over it yet. ELF, NQ, APP. So for APP, I like this base here. So APP, nice push towards upside. Now we're basing above this 380. What I would like to see if buyers do want to step in. We also have your earnings low, sorry, your earnings high here as well. So we can mark this out. Both are very key levels On the higher time frames, number one, we have our 360s and we also have our 380s. Our 380s, this is originally where we broke out from. So I personally would like to see a hold of this 380 and continue push higher. If we do break underneath this 380, next level of support is going to be your earnings high 360. And then I would like to see, right, the reclaim and then push back towards the upside on this name. All right. We have about 3 minutes until PPI. Let's kind of scroll down here as well. OKLO. Google levels were mentioned. I'll take a look at Google here as well. So for Google, I briefly went over Google. I always want to go over these tickers. Google, it's going to be your 178. 178 is going to be your key levels to look out for. Your Monday's pivot high. If we want to refine the level, then we can just draw this. It's going to be your Monday's high. So Monday's high along with your Tuesday's low. If you want to see any sort of push higher, it's going to have to reclaim back above your 178. If you do want to stay heavy right underneath your previous day lows, underneath your Monday's highs, and you like to see a continuation underneath your 178. There's a plane crash in India. That's why it's down this much. I've been having a losing streak for 5 days, been following rules, but managing risk. What do you suggest to take a day after? Suggest to take a day off after a losing streak. What do you do? Yeah, so there's different ways you can do it. Number one, you can take a day off or you can size down, right? These market conditions have been fairly difficult, so there hasn't been too much continuation. So these are a lot more difficult. So already one, right? Just based off the VIX, you should be sizing down just because there's not as much volatility. The VIX is slowly picking back up here, but you can now see, right? We end up having VIX all the way down at 16 yesterday. Now we're having a little bit of a bounce here. So we're pulling back. So you can see we're back above 18, but really for volatility, at least you want it above 20 for a little bit of volatility. So for VIX, we should see a nice push today. Also, we do have PPI, as I mentioned, in about 2 minutes. So we'll see if any sort of volatility kind of picks up here on the markets. If we can break underneath your 528, in my opinion, we could be looking for, right, this short off your 528 for a pushback towards the downside. Since there isn't too much volume, right, in this area, right, there's a lot of volume. Price was basically consolidating here for the past 3 to 5 sessions, but there's not as much volume back here. So if you can break underneath your 528, we can see a nicer push towards the downside here on the QQQ. Okay, as always, many thanks for all your videos. Just watch your latest videos. Very good. Appreciate that. Is Apple the weakest mix? Yeah, Apple's been the weakest. It's down like 18% year to date, whereas the market's almost back towards our all-time highs. Apple, it's lagging a little bit behind here. Just a little bit slower with kind of innovation. The past few years here on Apple has been slower compared to the overall market here as well. You can see we're basically back into the areas where we're at 2 years ago, or actually 3 years ago, which is your 180. So for Apple, this is the original retest that we had. You can see it's not that up that much compared to a bunch of other names. As for Apple, I am still very much bullish in the long term here, but this one kind of lagging behind. Key levels that we're going to have is your 180. You also have your 198 here as well. Let's see. I see cutting out. Oh, yeah. But back now, we can't hear you. Sounds good. Is he cutting out? Check your connections. Let's see. Yeah, am I cutting out? All right, we do have PPI here as well. Let me actually bring this up. Not now, okay. Or should be good. Okay, let's kind of scroll up here. All right, should be good. Okay, so we just had core PPI. So core PPI, as you can see, what we had here, forecasted 0.3, actual 0.1, came in lower than expected, similar to the month over month here as well, 0.2 to actually 0.1. And then we have unemployment, which in this case, right, 242, little bit higher than expected, 248 here on unemployment. So for the overall markets, let's go on to the SPY and Qs. So for the SPY and Qs, right now you can see buyers are stepping in off of your Monday's lows here. This is our key area, as I mentioned. If we do want to see a pushback towards the upside, right, we could be looking for the bounce trade off your 21,700. In my opinion, the best long is going to be back above your 21,860. So for the markets, I'm interested in a long above your 21,860. If I'm looking for shorts, I'm only interested in shorts below your Monday's lows, along with now it's going to be your pre-market lows here as well. In between this range, now if we go on to the lower time frames, this is basically where your previous day close is at. So this is where the market closed yesterday. You can see we're down about 0.5% here, but most likely the market's going to slowly push back towards the upside here coming into market open. So we'll see what happens. We do have one more hour until market does open here for the New York session. But so far, right, with PPI, the numbers are good. We're bouncing off key levels of support. We'll see what kind of shapes up on the NQ. If you look at the ES, similar thing, we're bouncing off of your Monday's lows here. So what we like to see now is the reaction that we have off of your 6008. So for the ES, what I'd like to see is really the reclaim back above your 6008 for this continued push higher. Really the best reclaim level, in my opinion, is going to be this 60.25 here. If you look at the SPY, key levels is going to be your 601. So your 601 is your pivot high from Monday. This is the level that we wanted to see hold. This is a level I personally would like to see reclaim for this continued push higher. We could look to trade from level to level here on the SPY. So if we can hold above, right, reclaim back above your previous day lows, next level is going to be the 601. So let me actually just readjust my level here for the SPY. Key levels, I'm just going to have this marked out. So your 598, and also have your 600. And now we also have your previous day lows. So coming to market open, if we can break back above your previous day lows, reclaim, we can look for this trading opportunity back up and towards your 601 here. The best longs, in my opinion, as I mentioned, is going to be above your 601 hold for this continuation towards the upside. If we're a little bit more short bias, I would not be short unless markets can stay heavy. If we stay heavy underneath your previous day lows, I'm only interested if it can break underneath your 598. Until then, it's not showing me enough weakness along with PPI here that we can go short until we can break underneath your 598. I don't really want to anticipate expecting the market to head lower just because we are holding levels here on the higher time frames. So the best trading opportunity below your 598, which is your pre-market lows, Monday's lows, and you can see multiple touches here as well. So only look for shorts underneath your pre-market lows 598. For the Qs, similar thesis. Only be more short bias if you're underneath your pre-market lows. Since we're not underneath your pre-market lows, we can expect it to just gravitate back up and towards your gap fill that we created. So we have a mini gap on the markets. We can expect the markets to push back up and towards your previous day lows along with your gap fill that we have created. So that's what we have for the indices coming into market open. If you look at some of the tech names here, let's go on to Tesla. So for Tesla, key levels that we have is just your 318. You can see some buyers are stepping in off your 318. Key levels is going to be your previous day lows along with your previous day close, which is your 327. Not too much to talk about on this name. We can just mark out your previous day lows here. As for Nvidia, a little bit of buyer stepping in now just because the markets are bouncing. Key levels is going to be your 142. As for Apple, you can see this one's staying heavy. So overall market bouncing, Apple staying heavy. Key levels to look out for is going to be your 200 key psych along with your pre-market highs along with your pre-market lows and previous day lows here. So you could be looking for the pop and fade on Apple today just because this one is staying heavy compared to the overall markets. So we'll keep an eye out on Apple. As for other names, Microsoft, we can expect this one to continue towards the upside just because it is at all-time highs. Let's look at some other names here as well. As for Meta, this one, you like to see a reclaim back above your 694. Google, hold of this 178. As for Amazon, a little bit of pullback here. Reclaim level for me on Amazon is going to be back above your 214 for any sort of continued pushback towards the upside. And then as for AMD, we'd like to see the buyers step in off this 119. So I don't see too many nice setups here on the higher time frames on the tech side. It seems like we're just going to be looking for the major indices once again. Basically the futures chart, if we are going to be looking to trade anything today, we'll see what kind of shapes up coming to market open if there is any sort of names that do have relative strength intraday. As for a few other names, actually one of the names I do like is Palantir. So Palantir is going to be one of my top watches coming into today. Broke above your previous all-time highs. Now we're basing above this 135. This, if we do want to see some more upside, is going to be on Palantir. Hold of your 135. So hold of your 135. I'd like to see this continue back up and towards your previous day close and potentially your 138 and maybe your previous day's high just based off of the SPY and Q. So we'll keep an eye out on Palantir coming into this morning. As for a few other tickers that we do have, Hood consolidating. Let's go into AVGO. So AVGO ended up having a nice reclaim yesterday. I'm also going to keep an eye out on this one. Key levels that we like to see hold is your 250. So we end up reclaiming back above your earnings low yesterday. Now it's going to be the hold of your 250. So hold of your 250, you like to see a push back up and towards your 255 here on AVGO. As for a few other names, glad to see SoFi is kind of bouncing back higher. Key level on SoFi is going to be your 1450. 1450 here on SoFi. As for a few other names, so some of these semiconductors like TSM and MU, very bullish and they're still holding up relatively speaking compared to the overall market. MU, the key levels I'm going to have marked out here is going to be your Tuesday's highs. So your Tuesday's highs I have marked out here on MU. This is the level I like to see reclaim and push back up and towards the highs here. If you look at this on the daily time frame, this is a very key level, as you can see. Now we're breaking above your 116. I'd like to see this level hold for this continued pushback towards the upside. Okay. Does the sound keep cutting out? Yeah, that's unfortunate. It was weird when I set it up this morning. But I am almost finished here as well. But yeah, coming into today, right? Numbers came in good. Overall market, right? Higher time frames still intact. We're going to be looking for the reclaim and the reaction really off your 21,860s. For the ES, key level is going to be this 60.08. So for the overall markets, we already have the levels established here. SPY, the levels are fairly clear coming into this morning. 598, 600 on SPY. For the Qs, it's going to be this 529. We have our previous day lows marked out, and we also have this 533. So that's what we have on the major indices. Let me actually just kind of scan one more time. Yeah, SoFi looks good. Costco, MU. Let's look at TSM. TSM, higher time frames. This one, really nice extension after having this daily breakout. Key levels for TSM that we're going to have marked out. I still very much like TSM here as well. You can see Monday's price action, right? Tuesday gap up. Now for TSM, we like to see the hold. It's going to be of your 212. Your 212 is key here. You can see multiple touches. Use this as support. Now we're back in towards your 212. I like to see now TSM hold above your 212 for this continued pushback towards the upside. Okay. So yeah, that is going to be it for me coming into this morning. As I mentioned, if we can reclaim key levels, so far we're already reclaiming here in the pre-market. So for the SPY and Qs, defending your higher low pivot level so far, your Monday's lows, along with the SPY here as well. So now what we're going to be looking for is just the reaction, right? We're going to open up fairly neutral. So we're going to open up fairly neutral in comparison to yesterday's previous day close. So we want to see the reaction, basically same game plan as usual. We're just going to wait for the first 15 to 30 minutes to play out. A lot of the volatility has been happening later into the day. So the first 15, really the first hour of market open has been very difficult to trade the past few weeks. So I don't expect anything to change. Most likely, we're just going to have a little bit more consolidation after having this pretty big push up with PPI. So we're just going to wait for the first 15 to 30 minutes to develop here on the overall indices. I am still, like, technically, we're still holding up. So I'm leaning more towards the upside. So we'll see if any sort of the tech names are going to start pushing back towards the highs here as well. So that is going to be it for me today. If you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. If you guys want to join the free watch list for the kind of pre-market game plan, that's also in the description below. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. And I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right. Take care, everyone.